It's not the job of the people success team to train 100% of the company. It's to create an environment where training will happen. Some of the training we will do ourselves, but most of the training will actually be done by the people that have been here for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Experts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Nicholas and I work in marketing at 360 Learning. This channel is for learning executives who want to have a business impact. So if you don't want to miss any of our videos, subscribe now. Today, I meet with Matthieu Birach. He's the Chief People Officer at Doctolib. Doctolib is literally reinventing healthcare. They recently raised $170 million, so a lot of great challenges ahead. In this video, we'll talk with him about HR and business, recruiting, learning, and we'll end up the video with more personal questions. So if you want to skip to a specific topic, please check in the description below. So hi Matthieu.
Hi Nicolas.
Thank you very much for having us here today. So Doctolib, can you remind our viewers what exactly you're doing right now?
Yes, so Doctolib, we are the largest e-health services in Europe. So basically, we aim to connect patients and doctors in order to improve the access and the efficiency of healthcare. So basically, we built a platform with services and softwares, allowing the patients and the doctors to have a better experience in healthcare.
You, Matthieu, you're the Chief People Officer at Doctolib, and you took this role 6 months ago, I think?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit what you did before that?
I started my career as an investment banker.
Okay.
So I did 4 years investment banking in London and Paris. And then I switched to a startup and I was general manager for a European food delivery company. I did that for 2 years and finally I joined Doctolib 3 years ago, first to work on international and then to work with the people team.
So your whole career has been about business and now you're working with people. How did you make the change?
Yeah, so that's one question that I get quite often. I think that a lot of people think that HR and business are two different things. I think that personally, and I guess that's something that we share at Doctolib, for us it's the same thing. So we believe that it's key to build a strong company, to have strong people in your company, to develop them and to invest in them in order to achieve your goals. And I guess it was the same for me. So when I joined Doctolib and worked with the team to launch Doctolib in Germany, one of the key components of our job was to find the best people and put them to work together. And that's basically what I do today, but just on a larger scale.
Are you still looking at the results of the operations? Do you miss this part or?
I guess that, and it's related to what we were saying before, the way we try to work with the people team is to be really results oriented. So I think that what makes it really interesting what we do is that it's half-half between people and KPIs, that data process, right? So on a daily basis, we look at numbers, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. So I guess that there's a lot of stuff that I learned before, either as an investment banker or on my manager role that I can apply here. So of course, we follow our numbers. Of course, we stay really close to the business. That is something that is really important for me, that the people team is aligned with the business. And so we spend a lot of time with the sales team, with the product team, with the tech team, talking about, okay, what are the plans for the next 6 months, the next year, and how will it translate into needs in terms of recruiting people, training people.
So Doctolib has been growing like crazy. You recently entered the German market, as you told me, and you had a huge merge with Mon Docteur. Are there any challenges being a French company, going abroad, and how does it make your life different as a HR director?
Of course, there's plenty of challenges that you face when you grow fast. I guess that as a French company, the one thing that we had to learn really early on is that when you start to go international, you have to go all the way. So that you need to make sure that your organization and the people are ready to make the step. So what we did on the organization was making sure that it was clear, the responsibilities were clear between people focused on locally, in France or in Germany, for example, and people focused on global missions. And on the people level, of course, you need to change a bit the mindset of people when you want to go international. You need to help them to do that. And one thing that we have done is, for example, we've hired an English teacher in our team, in the learning and development team. We have a full-time English teacher, and her role is to make sure that 100% of people in Doctolib can work fluently in English. And so that's one of the steps that we have made to make sure that we can help our team to make this step from a local company to an international company.
Your company is changing a lot. We'll talk about that a bit later, but I think you're hiring a lot of people. How do you adapt your HR team as you scale?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I joined at Doctolib, we had a rather small team, and we've been able to grow this team every year basically. And since the last 5 months, I've been working quite hard with the team to challenge ourselves into what is the vision that we have for the next year or the next 2 years. So basically what we are looking at is that what we do, and for us the mission of the people team is making sure that we can build an environment to make everyone at Doctolib happy and great at what they do. And so we look at all the things that we can do in order to make it happen. So how can we attract the best people? How can we onboard them, train them, and follow them during their life at Doctolib? And so that's what we are looking at when we look at how we will continue to grow the team. So today we have a team of roughly 45 people and the people team. We plan to go up to 60 at the end of the year, and then we'll sit down again and look at what are our main objectives for the next year or two, and then we'll see how we will continue to grow the team. And also for us, obviously the number of people is important, but the tools that we are using are also important. So we are also looking a lot at what kind of tools can help us to be more efficient, again, to make the life of the people at Doctolib better, and to make sure that they can build amazing career within our company.
Do you have results to achieve so that you can prove the business directors that it's worth hiring new people?
Yeah, indeed. So we look at everything. So we look at as many KPIs as possible. So we have different within the people team. There's different teams, obviously. So we have the talent acquisition team in charge of basically finding the best people and convincing them to join Doctolib. Yeah. We have the learning and development team. We call that the people success team. Then we have the HR operations and analytics team. And finally, we have the people strategy team. So for each of those teams, we have several KPIs. We have different levels of KPIs. We have the main KPIs, and then we have different categories below. And we look at everything on a weekly or monthly basis. So for example, for the talent team, obviously we look at how many people apply for Doctolib, how many people we contact, how many people we close every month, how many people we are able to convince. So those are the KPIs that are quite similar, by the way, to the KPIs that you would find in a marketing team or in a sales team. And we look at them on a regular basis. So at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, indeed, we present those numbers to the leaders of Doctolib in order to see, okay, those are the results for the last quarter, this is what we've been able to achieve, and then these are the business goals for the next year, and this is how we think we can make it possible.
And for example, if you identify a bottleneck in one of these key results that you're tracking, how do you solve it?
So for me, it relates to what we are saying, and to saying that HR is quite similar to business.
Exactly.
So I have a business background. There's a lot of people in my team that also have a business background. So we have in the people team today at Doctolib, we have people that worked in the sales team, in the account management team, and we are doing a lot of internal moves, and so we have a lot of those people coming in the people team. And so when we have a problem, we look at it the same way you would look at it in any other teams.
And I thought it was very interesting that you said that there were a lot of internal moves, so that basically a lot of people are joining your people team. Do you feel that your people team is quite appealing to the rest of the company, and how do you work on that?
I guess that yes, to some extent. I think that it's mostly that the people at Doctolib, the way we recruit people and our values are, super focused on people growth and on management and all those values. I guess that a lot of people, they share them inside the company, and you have people in tech, in sales, they have a totally different job, but they share the same mindset. And I guess that that's why we are lucky enough to have a lot of people, super interested into what we are doing at the people team. And some of the people, they want to join, others, they want to stay in their job, but they are quite, involved into everything we do. So for example, we do a lot of internal training. We have, every quarter, we have a learning day, where basically we have several workshops on different topics. So on for example, what is healthcare organization in France, or how to give feedback as a manager. So we do a lot of trainings during the day, and all those trainings, they are delivered by people in the team, not in the people team, but just managers within Doctolib that are quite involved in some of the topics, and that they are taking part of their time to train some people in the company. So we are lucky enough to have a lot of people actually asking for training or asking to contribute.
Another question about business and HR. How do you align with the business teams on a day-to-day job?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So for me, what is really important is that everyone within my team is really aligned with the business and spends a lot of time with the business. So what we do is, in the end, it's quite simple. It's just talking, For us, it's key that every team leader and every member of the team has a direct contact with people, the people in the other teams. So we want to make sure that there's no separation between the business team and the HR team. So to give you a concrete example, we recruit a lot of salespeople because we are growing so much. And so I have one person in my team in charge of recruiting for the sales team, and she's meeting on a weekly basis with the sales leader of Doctolib. So to align on the short-term priorities. Plus, they have a monthly alignment meetings to basically look at, okay, what we've done in the past months, what was good, what went not so well, and how we will make it better for the next months, and what are the targets month after month. So for me, the alignment is really through communication.
Super interesting, and that leads us to the next topic, recruiting at Doctolib. Yeah. So you had a huge growth, and you still have amazing targets to achieve. Can you tell us how many people you hired for example last year, and how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, so we went from so if we look at last year, we were around 400 people, and today we are 850. Then it was a big part of execution. We are lucky enough at Doctolib to attract a lot of great candidates. So we have the ability to meet a lot of amazing people, and then it's a lot of process, right? So you need to know what are your targets. For each role, you need to know exactly what is the process, how many interview steps, what are the criteria that you are going to look at, how much time you want to invest into this process, and then you need to execute. Okay.
And do you feel that the job of the talent acquisition team is more sorting the resumes they get, or they also have to hunt for talents?
Yeah. So the way we look at it is basically there's three main ways to acquire talent. Okay. You have incoming, so inbound, people applying, and this is through your employer brand, basically. Then you have outbound, so basically reaching out to people and trying to find in the market the skills that you need. Okay. And then the last thing, which is quite important for us, is internal, in the internal channel, which is basically then internal moves. Right, filling up a role because someone in the team is interested in this role, and then you have people within your company, presenting candidates. So it's purely referrals, basically. So we look at those three channels exactly like you would in marketing, and then we look at how can we increase how can we increase the volume in each of those channels. So then there's obviously different ways to look at it. So for example, inbound, so applications. We were quite strong historically in France because we have, in the end, we are a B2C brand, right? So we do B2B2C. So we're working with doctors, but also with patients. Yes. And so today we have 40 million visits on our website every month. So obviously people, they know us. And then if they know you and you have a great service, potentially they could be interested to work with you. So today we are lucky enough to have a lot of applications and a lot of amazing candidates interested into working with Doctolib. But it was a totally different game. And it is a totally different game in Germany, because in Germany we are smaller, we don't have the same size yet, so we had to rely a lot on the outbound channel. So for us it's quite important to be able to specify exactly what are the different channels, and then you look at each of those channels, how they convert into hires, and how you can improve that.
Are you able to share the numbers of your targets for next year, in Germany, but also as a whole?
Yeah, sure. So basically, until the end of the year, the target is to recruit 250 people. Okay. So to be a bit more than 1,000 people by the end of this year. Okay. And then the next step is to hire around 1,000 people over the next 2 years. Wow. So basically, in 2.5 years, be around 2,000 people in the company.
Well, that's a lot. And if I do the math, so you said 1,000 people for the next 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So divided by 24, it's like 40 people every month.
Yeah.
Okay, divided by 20. It's like 2 people a day you
Yeah.
have to hire.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So we do.
That's
we
crazy.
Do, yeah, that's a big. I mean, yeah. When you divide it like that, it's obviously it seems a big challenge. I mean, today we are able to do that. So we on a quarter basically we are able to hire around 150 people. So that we are not so far from that.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we do. You know, when we have the new joiners, all the new joiners at Doctolib, they start on the same day of every month. So we have one starting date for everyone, you know, every day in the month, and that's the beginning of what we call the Doctolib Academy. And so, you know, sometimes we have Doctolib Academy of 70, 80 people when you combine France and Germany. So we are used to those kind of numbers. Then the main challenge will be how to be consistent, and again, how to attract amazing talents.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So with a huge targets like that, I guess you have to have a strong process. What's uncommon about your recruiting process?
I don't know if this is something that we do differently, but the way we view interviews is it's a two-way street, right? So when you are trying to convince someone, you need to make sure that this person has all the information necessary to take a decision. So we try to be as open as possible when we do our interviews, and this is something that you can see in different processes that we have. So for the tech team, for example, when we have people that we want to hire for our tech team, so full stack developers, for example, then they would spend a day within our team. So they go through all the processes, the test, and so on, and then the final step is what we call immersion, and they spend a full day with our team. And we do the same for some sales team, some customer service team, because it's of course to assess people, but also to give them a full overview of what their job is going to be.
And isn't it like a mess, like to have like so many candidates like coming at your office every day?
I mean, we are lucky enough to have big offices. We have several offices today, so we are lucky enough to, and we have enough rooms to have people coming. But that's indeed a good point. It's that you have it's close to what you would see in operations or in logistics or in supply chain. You have to have so many people, going through different steps, and you need to make sure that they have a great experience. So when you have people coming, you need to make sure that you have people, welcoming you and making sure that you have everything. And this is something that we try to focus a lot, the candidate experience. This is something that is not easy to do. But what we do is now we've implemented a candidate NPS. So for all the candidates, so not yet, it's not live yet for 100% of the processes, but soon it will be. For all the people going through our interview processes, we will implement a short NPS, NPS system to make sure that we provided them a great experience. Whether in the end we hire this person or whether in the end this person wanted to join us, we think that there's always interesting feedback together.
And do you do still yourself interviews?
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, 5 to 6 interviews every week.
Okay.
I used to do much more in my previous job or even at Doctolib, especially when we were launching in Germany. Now I still do some, either because we are recruiting a lot within our team, within the people team, or because for some positions, the member of the executive committee, we have kind of a hiring committee where even though I'm not involved directly into recruiting this position, I will still step in to see this person and to assess this person for different types of skills or points. And so that's why I'm also spending some time recruiting for, or doing interviews for other teams.
Okay. And do you have like a favorite interview question that you ask?
Yeah, the main question, the question that I always ask is, what do you want to learn in the next 2 or 3 years? Because, and it can be within a job or outside a job, right? So when you sit down today, when you fast forward 2 years from now and you look back, what for you will be successful 2 years, in terms of learning, in terms of growing? And so this is a question that I ask a lot because we believe and we saw that at Doctolib, people that are succeeding are people that are always focusing on, achieving more, doing more, learning more. Stan, our co-founder, usually says something, he says it quite a lot, but he says that for him a good day is a day where he has learned 3 new things. So learning 3 things every day. This is for us kind of the simplest definition of what being an entrepreneur means, learning stuff every day. And so if I ask this question during the interview and I see that the person, the eyes will have some lights because this person will get super excited about learning new stuff, for me it's always a good sign.
Okay. And about learning now, let's switch to learning questions. Your company is evolving so fast, and you said that there were a lot of internal moves. So I guess like the skill sets are not exactly aligned when someone is taking another job in another department. How do you upskill your employees that fast?
What we believe is that when joining a company, it's important that the people they basically get exposed to three main things. So when we onboard people, we have three main objectives. First one is to make sure that they share the vision of Doctolib. Right? So when people join Doctolib, they go through the Doctolib Academy. And the first objective of the Doctolib Academy is making sure that everyone around the table, no matter the job, understand exactly what is the vision and what are the long-term goals of Doctolib. So we spend some time on that. So Stan, our co-founder, for every Doctolib Academy, spent several hours talking to the new joiners to explain them the vision, and other people within the leadership team spend some time to share the vision of Doctolib. So that's the first objective. Second objective is to make sure that people understand how we work at Doctolib. So we have a specific way of working, KPI driven, project management, working a lot with other teams. So this, we're trying to explain people how we work and what are the kind of tools we use. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, obviously, is to make sure that they can be great at their job as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's the onboarding. Then when the onboarding is done, then people, they will go through the normal kind of learning cycle. And then what we're trying to do is to have really regularly, so at least every month, training sessions, or sometimes every week for new joiners or for specific team, training sessions either online or physically or via video call, making sure that we can step by step make sure that people can step into their job as fast as possible.
Do you believe in collaborative learning? I mean, like employees learning from each other, sharing their skills to the others?
Yeah, so actually we only do collaborative learning. Okay. So we only believe in that almost. So for us, obviously you need to look at what is done outside, and we are not saying that we are not totally reinventing what it means to be a manager. But what is for sure is that being a manager as a template is not the same as being a manager at Doctolib. So what we're trying to do is to try to take both and make it our own way. So that's why we do so much collaborative learning, because we believe that all the experience that we have and everything that we've gone through to be there today is the results of our values, our ways of working. So we really believe in that. Of course, we want to make sure that we don't stay too much focused internally. So of course we meet a lot of people and we benchmark what we do with a lot of companies. But when people in our team, they have 2 hours of training by our CEO or by a member of the executive committee or by a member of the leadership team, it's obviously a strong because they know that they can relate, right? So it's a strong, for us, it has a strong impact on then how this training is going to be absorbed, and so that's why we really believe in that. So that's why we invest a lot of time from the leadership team into actually doing trainings.
And since your business is evolving so fast, so I guess that you have like new skill sets to share with everybody, and that they can be very different from one month to the other or something. And so many people to train. Do you consider like switching it to a more blended approach, or?
We'll go more and more to this kind of blended approach. We want to do it step by step because we want to make sure that we don't overwhelm people by training. We want to make sure that people, they stay engaged into the training that we provide. So that's the kind of questions that we have today.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the engagement issue is a very hot topic for everyone. If you had like one challenge in the learning team, what would it be?
I mean, we were looking at with the manager of the People Success team, we were looking at the numbers that we discussed earlier. So basically, hiring 200 plus people by the end of the year, hiring 1,000 people. And so basically we said, okay, we will hire 1,200 people in the next 2 years, plus we'll have, I don't know how many promotions of people becoming managers, plus we'll have how many, I don't know how many transfers, you know. So if you add that up, it's maybe, you know, you need to train basically 2,000 people in 2 years. And so that's, I mean, it's the equivalent of training, I don't know, 5 to 6, you know, promotions of business schools. So it's exactly if we would have, you know, 5 or 6 people, new joiners from business schools to train. So that's the job that you know, a university would do. And so then we need to say, okay, how can we do it? And I guess that it's impossible to think that we will be able to train people one by one like that. So we need to find a solution that scales. And for us, scaling can happen 2 ways, and will happen 2 ways. The tools that we have to train people and to train people at scale while keeping them engaged and so on. And also the team, right? So today we have 800 people in the team. We have people that have been with us for 2, 3, 4 years. Those people, they know everything about Doctolib. So how can we leverage a small part of their time to train the next people that will join Doctolib? So that's why we think that we can leverage the whole team to make it happen. So what we say quite a lot within the team is that it's not our job, it's not the job of the people success team to train 100% of the company. It's to create an environment where training will happen. Some of the training we will do ourselves, but most of the training will actually be done by the people that have been here for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Experts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's do one final chapter of this video and this interview. I'd like to get more into your personal views of the job. You had, before coming to Doctolib, jobs with a strong entrepreneurial mindset. How does it make you a unique HR director today?
I mean, I don't know if I think that obviously the experience that you have in the past, they will definitely have an impact on the way you approach problems and the way you try to, you know, find solutions. So, I mean, I think that coming uniquely from, I've never studied HR, I've never, you know, been in a HR department before. So I think that it's both a strength and sometimes a weakness. On the strength side, obviously, the thing is that I'm coming outside of the box, right? So I can only think outside of the box because I'm not from within. So that's, I think, interesting, and that's something that I can leverage, and it makes it easier for me to talk to people inside the team because I've done most of the things that they've done. So I've worked in sales before, I've managed sales people, so I know how hard it is, and so they know that I know, right? So then the conversations are much easier because they know that I'm not coming from a totally different, totally different point of view, and you know, trying to impose stuff. They believe that what I'm trying to do is also for, you know, to make sure that they can do their job better. So that's the strengths that I have from that. And obviously the weakness is that there's tons of stuff that I don't know, right? There's tons of stuff that I've never, you know, even discovered and yet, you know. So that's I would say weakness, but I think it's fine for 2 reasons. Because first, it gives me a huge opportunity to learn. There's tons of stuff that I need to learn to be good at my job. And the second, obviously, I have a great team. And so the thing that I don't know, part of them, they know, you know, right? So I can rely a lot on my teams, and hopefully I hope that this is something that makes it interesting for them. Is they know, and I told them right from the start, right? There's stuff that I know and stuff that I don't. So I will ask some questions, and don't hesitate to tell me if you think that we are not going to the right direction. So this keeps me in check in a way, because I know that I've never done this. So I cannot be the guy, you know, the guy of the cynical guy, because I haven't seen that before.
Okay, that's very interesting. And what advice would you give to someone stepping into a HR position today?
I think that there's plenty of stuff that you could advise to someone, and it would depend on the size of the company, the growth, and so on. But I think that one key thing is to make sure that you align as soon as possible with the business. You cannot think that you can build your HR team on the side, you know, because you are only a support team. If you start like that, from the start, it's not going to work.
Very interesting. And last question.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
What's next is to continue to explore new stuff, and at the end of the day, I think continue to learn new stuff with my team. When we open new countries, when we open new teams, so it's going to be learning every day. And the good thing with Doctolib is that I've been here for the last 4 years, and every day, every month, every quarter, I'm excited about what I'm going to learn. And so I hope that it's going to be the same for for the next steps.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Matthieu.
Thank you, Nicolas.
Super nice to talk to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you everyone for watching. In the next episode, I'll interview Danone Chief Learning Officer. So stick around and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!